Andrew, thank you very much for talking to us. Indeed, there's so much to talk about when it comes to China. The absence of Xi Jinping, that's in a sense many believe is deliberate. What do you think and what do you make of his absence at the G20?
Well, definitely this is not meant to be a snub on Prime Minister Modi. It is a calibrated response as a result of a combination of factors. I think the most important factor is that the presence of President Biden and then his influence over the agenda of the G20 and in fact his Western allies, they're all anti-China. There is a great deal of hostility towards China at the moment, and then China and the United States are almost at war, with the United States mounting a 360 degrees pushback against China on technology, semiconductors, Taiwan, on Hong Kong, on the South China Sea, on all fronts. So the atmosphere is not very conducive to the presence of Xi in this forum with the United States and its Western allies. And particularly the host, India, is not exactly a good friend of China either. But President Xi is more than ably represented by the Premiere Li Qiang, who just came back from a very successful meeting with the ASEAN forum and putting China's proposed agenda on the table and being greatly well received. And in fact, as far as the Global South is concerned, again, the recent BRICS plus summit speaks for itself, whereby a lot of the countries in the developing world are lining up to join the BRICS, in which China has an outsized influence because China's economy is more than the rest of the BRICS combined. And of course, after all, China is the largest trading partner to 128 countries around the world, compared with only 58 to the United States. So I think President Xi is quite confident of his influence in the Global South, but the combination of the a kind of hostile environment, I think has led to his decision not to appear on this occasion.
Right. I know you say that, but, you know, given the fact that the lead up to this, there was, you know, the map controversy between India and China. There was also, of course, a different readout from India and China as to what was discussed and the manner in which it was discussed. The meeting between Prime Minister Modi and Xi Jinping at the BRICS summit, there was also a difference of opinion on who initiated this. Given the tense situation at the border and in the relationship between China and US, as you mentioned, the fact that to come to a multilateral forum like this, sometimes, you know, the pull asides, the pleasantries do impact what's going on. They put a pause on the negativity or the tensions, and there can be, you know, a different position henceforth from that moment on in the conversation, or you think that's not possible, it's better to stay away. And also I'd like to ask you about the joint declaration. We know that Russia is going to oppose it. It's pretty clear that the Chinese side will also oppose the joint communique mentioning Russia with the Ukraine war.
Well, I think that the G20 is supposed to address the most serious problems facing the world. And of course, one of the serious challenge is the Ukraine war. But as far as China's position is concerned, China wants peace rather than war. But then China opposes any unilateral coercive kind of stance or ganging up against Russia's own national interests. And this is, of course, regardless of the fact that Russia and China have been very, very close economic partners even before the war. Now, I think that it's instructive that recently, through another forum, I think in the United Nations, only about a couple of days ago, China proposed a motion calling for an end to the Ukraine war, trying to accelerate the process towards peace. And I think that that would be well received. But of course, that the West America and its Western allies would look at this proposal with a great deal of skepticism. In other words, what sort of peace are we going for? Is a peace agreement freezes the gains of Russia through this kind of coercive war on Ukraine. So I think that there are lots of things that are at stake. But I think that the wisdom, the diplomacy is to find a form of words so that the principles are preserved. I think there is no doubt that all countries want peace, including the United States, including Ukraine. But I think that the way to go about it is to lay down certain principles. For example, the principles of territorial integrity and so on must be respected.
Right. Andrew, thanks very much indeed for joining us and giving us your perspective on what it means of China's Xi Jinping to be missing this G20 meet.